Welcome back to the Expensive Coins History Channel. If you have one of these coins, please listen very carefully. This is not just another coin video. This is something serious, because what you might have sitting quietly in your pocket, an old jar, or even inside a forgotten drawer could be worth a shocking amount of money today. And I'm not talking about a few dollars. I'm talking about life-changing money. If you have one of these coins, please leave your email in the comment box. We will contact you to buy this coin from you. Yes, you heard that right. Real collectors are paying real money for coins most people still treat as spare change. Today, we are starting with a coin that millions of people have seen, touched, and ignored for decades. The 1987 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. 5 cents. Common design. Nothing flashy. Nothing golden. Nothing that screams value. And that's exactly why this coin is so dangerous to ignore. Because the most valuable coins are often the ones hiding in plain sight. The Jefferson Nickels series has been around since 1938, and over the years, billions of nickels have been produced. But here's something most people don't realize. Not every coin from a common year is actually common. Some years hide rare variations. Some contain minting flaws. Some were produced under unusual circumstances. And some were simply overlooked by collectors at the time, only to become incredibly valuable decades later. The 1987 nickel came from the Philadelphia Mint. Now, here's where things get interesting. For many years, Philadelphia coins didn't carry a mint mark at all. But by the 1980s, the P mint mark had become standard. So when collectors examine a 1987 nickel with that small P, they aren't just looking at a coin. They're looking at a specific moment in mint history, a time when production methods were changing, quality control was evolving, and certain rare pieces slipped through unnoticed. Most 1987 nickels are still worth face value. That's the truth. But not all of them. And this is where knowledge separates ordinary people from smart collectors. Because within this year, there are coins that have stunned the market. Coins that look normal until you examine them closely. Coins that have sold for prices that leave people speechless. One of the biggest reasons the 1987 nickel can become extremely valuable is condition. And when we say condition, we're not talking about looks okay. We're talking about near-perfect coins. Coins that were never circulated. Coins that somehow survived decades without scratches, dents, or wear. These are called high-grade coins, and they are incredibly rare for everyday circulation coins. Think about it. Nickels are one of the most heavily used coins in America. They get tossed into vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, shoved into cup holders, and forgotten in couch cushions. So finding a 1987 nickel in pristine condition today is like finding a 40-year-old time capsule. And collectors love time capsules. But condition alone is not the only factor. There are also rare minting characteristics that can send the value skyrocketing. Subtle doubling in the lettering. Slight misalignments, unusual surface textures, tiny details most people would never notice. But experienced collectors? They notice everything. And when they find a rare variation, they are willing to pay big money to own it. Imagine this scenario. A man in his 50s is cleaning out his late father's belongings. Inside an old tin box, he finds rolls of coins, mostly pennies and nickels. He almost throws them away. But curiosity stops him. He opens one roll and starts checking the dates. 1987, 1987, 1987 again. Ordinary, right? That's what he thought too, until he decided to get one coin graded. That single decision changed everything. When the grading results came back, the coin was classified as an extremely high-grade example. Nearly flawless. The kind of coin collectors dream about. Suddenly, what looked like pocket change became a serious collectible. Auctions followed. Bidding wars began. And just like that, a coin he almost ignored turned into a financial surprise he never expected. This is why stories like this keep happening. Because people underestimate modern coins. They assume only ancient or silver coins are valuable. They think rare means old. But the truth is, rarity is not just about age. It's about survival, quality, and uniqueness. Now let's talk about psychology for a moment. Why are collectors willing to pay so much for something so small? Because coins are more than metal. They are frozen history. Each one represents a specific year, a specific mint, a specific production story. And when a coin survives in exceptional condition, it becomes a symbol of time preserved. That emotional value drives real demand. Men between 35 and 65 especially understand this feeling. Many grew up using these coins daily, buying snacks, paying for parking, counting change at the end of the day. So when they rediscover a coin from their past and realize it might be worth thousands, it hits differently. It's not just about money. It's nostalgia mixed with opportunity. And here's something even more fascinating. The market for rare coins has quietly exploded over the last decade. More collectors, more investors, more private buyers entering the space. And when demand rises while supply stays limited, prices go up. That's basic economics. And coins like the 1987 P nickel are benefiting from this shift. Private collectors are now hunting coins that the general public still overlooks. They are searching through estate sales, old bank rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars. And they are paying premium prices for the right pieces. Not because the coin is gold, not because it's ancient, but because it is rare in the way that truly matters. Now let's make this very real for you. Take a moment and think about where your old coins might be. A drawer in your home, a box in storage, a wallet you haven't used in years. Maybe even coins your parents or grandparents saved. Most people never check. They assume it's not worth the effort. And that assumption is exactly why valuable coins continue to slip through unnoticed. You don't need to be a professional collector to start looking. You don't need expensive tools. All you need is curiosity and a little patience. Start by checking the date. Look for 1987. Then look for the small P mint mark. Hold the coin under good light. Notice the shine, the edges, the details in Jefferson's hair, the clarity of the Monticello building on the back. Sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is hidden in the smallest details. And here's the part most people find hard to believe. Some 1987 P Jefferson Nickels have reached jaw-dropping prices in the collector world when they meet the right conditions. We're talking about coins that shocked even experienced buyers. Coins that proved modern pocket change can still carry massive value. So before you dismiss this as hype, remember this. Every year, ordinary people discover extraordinary coins. Not because they are lucky, but because they finally decided to look. If you have one of these coins, do not ignore it. Do not spend it. Do not assume it's worthless. Because the right coin in the right condition can completely change the story. And this is the moment you need to pay attention. If you have a 1987 P Jefferson nickel that looks unusually clean, sharp, or different in any way, take it seriously. Because collectors are actively searching for these pieces right now. And some are willing to pay prices that most people would never expect from a simple 5-cent coin. In fact, top examples of the 1987 P Jefferson nickel have reached values as high as $88,000 in today's collector market. Yes, a nickel. $88,000. So if you think you might have one, don't stay silent. Leave your email in the comment box. We will contact you to buy this coin from you. This could be the opportunity you never saw coming. And remember, this is only the beginning, because the next coin might surprise you even more. Now let's move forward, because the next coin is even more surprising. And if you thought the last one sounded unbelievable, what you're about to hear might completely change how you look at every nickel you've ever owned. We are now talking about the 1985 P Jefferson nickel. Another coin most people have handled without a second thought. Another coin that has passed through millions of hands unnoticed. And yet, behind its simple appearance lies a story that has shocked collectors again and again. Think back to the mid-1980s, a time before smartphones, before digital payments, before people stopped caring about coins. Back then, nickels were part of daily life. They moved constantly. Gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, bus fares. The 1985 nickel was not saved. It was used. And that constant use is exactly what makes rare survivors so valuable today. The Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of nickels in 1985. On paper, that should make the coin extremely common. And in most cases, it is. But numbers alone do not determine value. What truly determines value is how many exceptional coins still exist today. And this is where reality becomes very different from expectation. Most 1985 nickels lived hard lives. They were scratched, worn down, damaged, and eventually lost. Decades of circulation erased their sharpness. The fine details faded. Jefferson's portrait softened. The steps of Monticello blurred. So when collectors search for a 1985p nickel today, they are not looking for any coin. They are searching for survivors that somehow escape time. And those survivors are incredibly rare. Imagine a coin minted in 1985 that somehow never entered circulation. Maybe it was stored in a bankroll and forgotten. Maybe it sat untouched in a collector's drawer. Maybe it was part of a sealed mint set that stayed hidden for decades. Whatever the reason, when a coin like that finally surfaces, collectors take notice immediately. Because they understand something most people don't. Time destroys coins. So when time fails to destroy one, it becomes special. But condition is only one piece of the puzzle. The 1985p Jefferson nickel has another layer that makes it even more fascinating. Subtle production quirks. Small irregularities. Tiny differences that most people would never see unless they knew exactly what to look for. During the 1980s, minting technology was improving, but it was not perfect. Dies wore down. Machines shifted slightly. Quality control wasn't as advanced as it is today. And in those small gaps of imperfection, rare variations were born. Some 1985 nickels show unusually strong strikes, where the design appears deeper and sharper than normal. Others reveal faint doubling in letters or numbers, creating a barely visible but highly desirable effect. There are also examples with exceptional luster, a glowing, almost mirror-like shine that immediately sets them apart from ordinary coins. To the average person, these differences might seem meaningless. But to a collector, they are everything, because rarity often lives in details invisible to the untrained eye. Now picture this real-life type of moment. A man in his early 60s is going through an old container of coins he saved from his working years. He remembers collecting change at the end of every day but never really sorting it. Decades later, curiosity finally pushes him to look closely. He starts separating coins by date. Pennies here, nickels there. Then he notices something unusual. One nickel looks different. Brighter, sharper, almost newer than the rest. The date reads 1985. A small P sits beside it. First, he shrugs it off. But something about the coin keeps pulling his attention back. So instead of ignoring it, he decides to learn more. That single decision creates a ripple effect. He compares the coin with others online. He notices the difference in detail. The clarity of Jefferson's profile, the strong, crisp lines of Monticello. Slowly, doubt turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into excitement. And excitement turns into action. He sends the coin for professional evaluation. Weeks later, the results arrive. The coin is graded extremely high, far above typical circulation examples. Suddenly, the nickel he nearly dismissed becomes something entirely different. Not spare change, not nostalgia, but a rare survivor from a heavily used era. This is how discoveries happen. Not in dramatic treasure hunts, not with metal detectors on beaches, but in quiet moments, at kitchen tables, in garages, in small boxes filled with forgotten memories. And here's something that makes this even more powerful. Many of the people who discover valuable coins are not collectors at all. They are ordinary individuals who simply took the time to look. People who refused to assume. People who stayed curious. The 1985p Jefferson nickel represents exactly that kind of opportunity. It hides in plain sight. It blends into everyday change. And because of that, it continues to surprise people even today. Now let's talk about emotional value for a moment. Coins from the 1980s carry a unique connection for men between 35 and 65. These were the years of building careers, raising families, chasing dreams. A time when life felt different, slower, simpler in some ways. So when a coin from that era suddenly becomes valuable, it doesn't just feel like money. It feels personal. It feels like rediscovering a forgotten chapter of your own life. And that emotional connection drives the collector market more than most people realize. Because collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying stories, memories, time capsules. When a coin represents an era people still remember vividly, its appeal multiplies. Another factor fueling demand is scarcity at the top. While millions of 1985 nickels once existed, very few remain in elite condition today. And collectors compete fiercely for the best examples. Because in the world of rare coins, the difference between good and perfect can mean tens of thousands of dollars. Think of it like classic cars. Many were produced. Few survived in pristine condition. And those few now command incredible prices. Coins follow the same pattern. Now here's the part you need to take seriously. The market for high-grade modern coins has matured. Buyers are more educated. Auctions are more competitive. Private deals are happening quietly behind the scenes. And coins that once sold for modest amounts are now breaking expectations. The 1985 Jefferson nickel has been part of that quiet rise. Especially top-condition coins that stand far above the average examples people see every day. So ask yourself something honest. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your old coins? Not glanced, not assumed, but truly examined them. Most people never do. And that habit of ignoring small things is exactly why hidden value keeps slipping by unnoticed. Your opportunity might not look dramatic. It might not sparkle. It might not feel rare at first glance. But value doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it waits patiently for someone observant enough to recognize it. If you have old coins stored away, now is the time to check. Look for 1985. Look for the small p. Pay attention to shine, sharpness, details. Compare it with other nickels. Trust your instincts if something feels different. Because discoveries don't happen to people who assume. They happen to people who look. And here is the reality that has stunned many collectors. Exceptional examples of the 1985 Jefferson nickel have reached values that most people would never associate with a 5-cent coin. Prices that sound almost unreal until you see them documented in the collector world. Top-tier examples have reached as high as $96,000. Yes, $96,000 for a single nickel. Let that sink in for a moment. A coin small enough to disappear in your palm. A coin once used to buy candy or pay a parking meter. Now capable of carrying the value of a luxury car. So if you have a 1985 Jefferson nickel, do not ignore it. Do not spend it casually. And most importantly, do not assume it is ordinary. If you believe you might have one in exceptional condition, leave your email in the comment box. We will contact you to buy this coin from you. This could be one of those rare moments where something small creates a very big turning point in your life. And believe it or not, the next coin might be the most shocking of all. Now take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear might be the most shocking part of this entire journey. We've already talked about coins most people ignore. Coins that quietly sit in drawers and jars without anyone realizing their potential. But this final coin carries a level of surprise that has left even experienced collectors stunned. We are now talking about the 1984 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, nothing about this coin feels extraordinary. Another 5-cent piece. Another Jefferson portrait. Another Monticello reverse. Simple. Familiar. Almost invisible in everyday life. And that's exactly what makes this coin so powerful. Because the most dangerous treasures are the ones nobody thinks to question. The 1984 nickel came from the Denver Mint, marked with the small d. During that time, the Denver Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to meet national demand. America was moving fast. Commerce was constant. Coins were flowing through the economy like water. And nickels were among the most heavily used coins in circulation. This means one thing very clearly. Most 1984 nickels were not protected. They were not saved carefully. They were not treated like collectibles. They were used hard, tossed into registers, dropped on concrete, carried in sweaty pockets, forgotten in parking lots. Over time, the majority were worn down, damaged, or lost completely. And that's where rarity begins. Because true rarity is not always about low mintage. Sometimes it's about survival. When millions are made but almost none survive in exceptional condition, the few that do instantly become extraordinary. The 1984 Jefferson nickel represents that exact story. Collectors searching for this coin are not looking for average examples. Average coins are everywhere. What they are hunting are the anomalies, the survivors, the coins that somehow escaped decades of wear and still look nearly untouched. Imagine the journey of a coin like that. Minted in Denver in 1984. Shiny, crisp, perfect. Then somehow, instead of entering circulation, it takes a different path. Maybe it was placed into a bankroll and stored away. Maybe it was saved by someone who liked keeping fresh coins. Maybe it slipped into a drawer and stayed there for decades, forgotten by time itself. While millions of other nickels aged and faded, this one waited. And when coins like that reappear today, collectors react immediately, because they understand how unlikely that survival really is. But the 1984 nickel has another layer that makes it even more intriguing. Certain examples show striking characteristics that elevate them far beyond ordinary coins. Strong, deeply impressed details, razor-sharp edges, exceptional surface brilliance, and in rare cases, subtle minting variations that make the coin stand out under careful inspection. These are not things you notice casually. These are details that reveal themselves slowly, under light, under magnification, under patience. And that's why so many valuable coins stay hidden for so long, because they require someone willing to slow down and truly look. Now picture this moment. A man in his late 40s is cleaning out an old family home. The house is filled with memories, old furniture, faded photographs, boxes that haven't been opened in years. Inside one of those boxes, he finds a small cloth pouch. Curious, he opens it. Coins, mostly pennies and nickels. Nothing that immediately looks valuable. But instead of tossing them aside, he decides to examine them one by one. Not because he expects treasure, but because nostalgia makes him pause. Then he notices a nickel that feels different. It's brighter than the rest. The edges feel sharper. The surface reflects light in a way the others don't. He checks the date. 1984. Then he sees the small d. At that moment, nothing magical happens. No music. No flashing lights. Just a quiet realization that this coin deserves a second look. That quiet moment is how life-changing discoveries often begin. He compares it with other nickels. The difference becomes clearer. This one has depth, detail, presence. Something about it refuses to blend in. So instead of ignoring that instinct, he follows it. He seeks expert evaluation. And then comes the moment that changes everything. The coin is confirmed as an exceptionally high-grade example. A near-perfect survivor from an era where perfection was never meant to last. Suddenly, what looked like loose change transforms into something powerful. Something rare. Something valuable. This is not fantasy. This is how the coin world works. Quiet discoveries. Unexpected turns. Ordinary people stumbling into extraordinary outcomes simply because they paid attention. The 1984 Jefferson nickel carries that exact kind of hidden potential. And here's something important to understand. Coins from the early 1980s are entering a powerful phase in the collector market. They are old enough to feel nostalgic, yet modern enough that many people still overlook them. That combination creates opportunity. Because while the world is busy chasing ancient coins and gold pieces, modern rarities are quietly rising in value behind the scenes. Serious collectors already know this. Investors know this. Private buyers know this. And they are actively searching for top-condition coins from this era before the broader public catches on. This creates a window of time. A rare window where valuable coins still remain in everyday hands. Not locked in museums. Not sealed in elite collections. But sitting quietly with ordinary people who simply haven't looked closely yet. And this is where you come in. Think about your own life for a moment. The places you've lived. The drawers you haven't opened in years. The jars of coins sitting somewhere in your home. Maybe even coins passed down from parents or grandparents. These are not just objects. They are time capsules. And time capsules sometimes hold surprises. The biggest mistake people make is assuming value has to look obvious. They expect treasure to shine brightly, to feel heavy, to look ancient. But history proves something very different. Some of the most valuable collectibles in the world were once ignored. Not because they lacked value, but because nobody looked closely enough at the right time. The 1984 Jefferson Nickel fits perfectly into that pattern. Small, quiet, easy to overlook, yet capable of carrying enormous significance under the right conditions. Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay such staggering prices for coins like this. It comes down to three powerful forces: rarity, condition, and emotion. Rarity limits supply. Condition defines desirability, and emotion drives demand. When a coin scores high in all three, something extraordinary happens. Competition begins. Collectors don't just want the coin. They need it to complete collections, to secure status, to own a piece few others can claim. And when multiple serious buyers chase the same rare coin, prices stop making sense to outsiders. They start making history. Another reason values have surged is the rise of global collectors. Today, rare coins are no longer limited to local markets. Buyers from around the world compete for the best pieces. Auctions are watched internationally. Private deals happen across borders. And when global demand meets limited supply, values climb fast. This means coins once considered modest are now entering a completely different price universe. The 1984 Jefferson Nickel has already shown signs of that shift, especially for coins that stand far above average quality. Coins that look almost frozen in time. Coins that carry the kind of preservation collectors dream about. And here is the moment you need to take seriously. If you have never checked your old nickels, now is the time. Not later. Not someday. Now. Look for 1984. Look for the small d. Hold the coin under strong light. Turn it slowly. Study the surface. Notice the sharpness of the details, the clarity of Monticello, the texture of Jefferson's profile. Let your eyes adjust. Let your instincts speak. Because sometimes, deep down, you can feel when something is different. And if you ever find a coin that makes you pause, do not ignore that feeling. Curiosity has changed more lives than luck ever did. Now listen very carefully, because this is the part that has left many people speechless. Exceptional examples of the 1984 Jefferson Nickel have reached levels that most people would never associate with a 5-cent coin. Levels that redefine what small change can truly mean. Top-tier examples have reached values as high as $114,000. Yes, $114,000 for a single nickel. A coin small enough to slip through your fingers. A coin once used without thought, now capable of carrying the value of a house in many places. So if you take one thing away from this entire story, let it be this: never underestimate what you already have. Because sometimes, life-changing opportunities don't arrive loudly. They sit quietly in places you've already been. If you have a 1984 Jefferson Nickel that looks unusually sharp, clean, or different in any way, take it seriously. Do not spend it. Do not ignore it. And do not assume it's ordinary. If you believe you might have one of these coins, leave your email in the comment box. We will contact you to buy this coin from you. This could be the moment where something small creates a massive turning point in your life. Check your coins. Trust your instincts. And remember, the next great discovery might already be in your hands.